So here we go, giving you guys a little bit of a fight atmosphere as I'm going to talk about Dana White and his beef with Francis Ngannou, as we got some Muay Thai fights going on in the background. By the way, going on in Thailand. I believe this is a replay in, I believe, the R Stadium, which is famous in Bangkok for holding all the Muay Thai fights. But yes, we're going to have that in the background while we talk about Dana White and Francis Ngannou. So here it goes. Francis Ngannou had mentioned that, you know what, it was Dana White that owed him money, rather than Dana White actually having to pay money towards Francis Ngannou. Or, I'm sorry, or the other way around, whichever, vice versa. So what's going on here is that you got to understand Dana White is operating under the aspect of being a fight promoter. What does that mean? That means that whatever is in their best interest, they're going to speak on their behalf and make the other one look bad. In other words, diminish them to the point where their company looks like the good guys. Their company looks like the one that has the voice of reason, the one that gave the best offer above all else. But here comes Francis giving you the facts and figures and the reality of who made what in terms of which promotion he was fighting under. So what we have going on is an understanding that Francis Ngannou is right now the best heavyweight in the world. Now, is he untested? Of course, because we'll never see the Tom Aspinall fight, at least not in the not anytime soon, not in the later future even, right? Or any foreseeable time frame of whatever. It's just not going to happen. Same thing with John Jones. Highly unlikely, although there is a possibility that the Saudis can come in and do exactly that. Look, here's something you got to understand. Dana White once met Matt Mitrione at a club. And for those of you that don't know who Matt Mitrione is, look it up. That's for your own homework to do. But he was a former heavyweight in the UFC. And I'm not going to go into his whole entire resume. You just have to look it up. But he was in a contract negotiation between Bellator and the UFC. So what had happened? He ended up signing with Bellator for more money. Dana White saw him at the club. What did Dana White say to him? He said, hey, come here. You know, and he gave him the finger. He gave Dana White the middle finger. Why did he do that? Because he thought that Dana White had something personal against him because of these contract negotiations that they had going on. Lo and behold, Dana White was very receptive of Matt Mitrione. He said, hey, congratulations. You were able to obtain more money than we would have been able to offer. You won. And basically was a good sport about it. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Dana White is a cold-hearted capitalist in terms of whether you get the money or whether he gets the money. But either way, he champions people that go out and get the most money that they can. But you got to understand, Dana White has to say what he has to say in order to make his promotion look good. This is also why you're never going to see a 5-on-5 series the way that Queensberry and Matchroom Boxing had going on, based on the fact that Dana White does not want to have the low moral high ground if UFC were to lose those fights the way that Matchroom got shut out with 5 fights in 5-0, okay? Like a complete shutout. He doesn't want any of that happening. So he'll never do that. But I'll tell you what he will do. He will continue to run the company the way that the company needs to be ran. He's going to continue to run business the way that it's always been, because don't fix anything that isn't broken. And what's broken about the UFC? Well, other than the fact that there is fighter pay issues going on, but what isn't broken is the system that they have where the brand is always bigger than the fighter. And as long as they have that, well, they have something in their back pocket that they can sell to TV networks, that they can sell to the world as the moral high ground of mixed martial arts. And you can't take that away from them. But at the same time, Francis Ngannou, here's the other part and the other twist of this whole entire story that I'm going to take this, right? The other part that I wanted to take this story is Francis Ngannou really a good guy or not? And my answer is it really depends on who you are and who you're dealing with. Now, all these things that Dana White was talking about with Francis Ngannou, about how he had some issues with him and things of that nature, I think many of that stems from when Dana White was asked by Francis Ngannou, hey, fly me out on a private jet, right? In other words, Francis Ngannou wanted the red carpet treatment, and he wasn't even champion yet. Now, why would he want this? Well, for one reason or another, you got to understand Conor McGregor, when he came into the UFC, you notice how he was being driven around by Dana White in his Lamborghini, was flown around in a private jet during the Jose Aldo promotional World Tour days prior to the 145 bout that they were going to have for the 145 Undisputed Championship. Well, yeah, he wanted that same treatment because there was a point where Francis Ngannou felt that, you know what, he could be the next Conor McGregor in the heavyweight division. And obviously Dana White saw something different. And what's crazy is that he even went out and said, hey, you know what, he was glad that Stipe whooped him. I've never heard Dana say that he was glad anybody got whooped until it was Tito Ortiz taking on Randy Couture. And the reason why was because he had some serious contract negotiations with him. And later on, guess what? Dana White went on to have contract negotiation issues with Randy Couture as well. Well, that's the reality of this situation. That's the reality of what they have going on. And there's always two sides to every story. And just like every other combat sports news and every other news coverage that I do, I always have one common theme, and that's this. There are no good guys and bad guys in every story. There are only people that are trying to survive. So I need you to understand that, to try to understand this. There are no good guys or bad guys in any story. There are only people that are trying to survive. Just like these guys that you see fighting right here behind me. What is their whole entire prerogative? Their whole entire prerogative is to make money and to fight for their family for a better standing in life, for a better chance in life, for more generational wealth. That is what people fight for, and that is what people are motivated by, whether it's in business or in sports. And that is the reality of this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next topic to come, inshallah.